It would be considered poor manners in my culture if I were to start without first greeting you. And so, good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. I remember the day that I heard that a great, influential world leader had referred to the place that I was born in these terms. Now, frankly, and some of you might disagree with me on this, why would I blame him? Because 6 out of every 10 news reports about Africa is negative. High levels of illiteracy, the world's poorest continent, reoccurring, continuing conflict and political unrest, famine, hunger, malnourishment, terrorism, disease, HIV and Ebola, and there are even dangerous pirates out there in the sea. And this might be putting things simply, but I think most of what we know about the world is what we see, what we hear in the news, in the movies. And when it comes to Africa, a lot of what we understand and think about Africa comes from what we hear and see on television. Now, look, I'm not here to whitewash or airbrush or gloss over the very significant, incredibly difficult problems facing the African continent. There are very serious economic, political, governance, and security issues facing the continent. But there is more than that to Africa. My hope today is to hopefully broaden your perspective of the continent that some have referred to as the last final frontier. Some have started referring to it as. I would welcome you to experience Africa for yourself. Yes, go on a safari, but do more than that. It is daunting, I agree, but I think worthwhile. Africa is the second largest continent in terms of size and population in the world. We, in the 21st century, in a global community, should no longer choose to ignore Africa. It was really hard. It was really hard being the only African kid in my school. I suspect that for many there, I was the first African that they had encountered or interacted with in person, face to face. They would ask me questions like, how did you get here? Or, did your family come here because of a famine? In Africa, did you live in a house? How did you learn to speak English? Seeing the images of malnourished children come across the television screen every time there was news about Africa didn't help. It did not make things easier. At school, kids would make fun of me. Why? They would mock me simply because I was an African. The truth is, my family came to the United States when my father came here to pursue his second master's degree and then a doctoral degree. We didn't come here because we were hungry. We did not arrive as refugees. And yes, in Africa, we lived in a house, a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom house. Later on, as an adult, people would say to me, "You're so well spoken. Where did you learn to speak English so well?" Or the most surprising one, "You don't look like an African." That one baffles me. You don't look like an African. Wow, you're so different. Well, here's the thing, I am not at all different. I remember when the movie Black Panther came out. It was a story about a black superhero from this country, a fictitious nation in Africa called, if you all have seen it, Wakanda. And Wakanda had a rare and precious resource called vibranium. The good guys, the bad guys, everybody wanted vibranium. Vibranium could do just about anything. Lose an arm, vibranium. And Wakanda was a wonderful place and the most technologically advanced place on the earth. Ironically, I watched Wakanda, Black Panther, while sitting on a plane on the way to Africa to visit my parents in Uganda. There's no doubt about it. The movie Black Panther did some significant things, and among them is helping us to reimagine how we see Africa. It presented Africa in a very positive light. But then it struck me, why should it be that it takes a fantasy representation of Africa for us to see it in this way when there are so many, in reality, so many fantastic and wonderful things happening on the continent? This is Ednancy. She never went to school, but she does speak 3 different languages. In her late 60s, she volunteered to join the local defense unit in her village. I can remember seeing her in a long dress, because she won't wear pants, in her long dress, running in formation in her late 60s, doing these drills, learning how to shoot a gun so that she could be well prepared to protect her family and her community. In her 70s, she ran for political office and she won. She became the government's local council representative at the village level. And she did this for many years. She tried to resign several times, but they wouldn't let her. I remember sitting with her one day outside her house, and she ran back inside and said to me, "I've got to show you something." She came back with a little notebook, and she said to me, "Eva, this is my name in my native language, Lusoga. Eva, I've decided that I should learn how to read and write." And so she showed me her notes, and we worked on some spelling. She felt that it was important for her to learn how to read and write so she could document the things that she encountered as a representative of government in her village. My grandmother is a phenomenal woman, but she is not alone. There are so many like her across the African continent. This is Krista. Look at her. She's beautiful. Currently, she is the Director of Academic Affairs at Uganda Christian College, voted to be the 50th most beautiful Christian campus in the world. I've been there, and it's truly beautiful. Consider it the thousands of Christian universities around the world, and this one in the small African country of Uganda is the 50th most beautiful. Here's my point. Africa is rarely presented this way. Uganda Christian University offers 115 plus undergraduate degree programs and 17 graduate school programs. Students come to UCU from all over the African continent, to include countries like Nigeria, Liberia, Cameroon, but also internationally, they come from places like China and India, Australia, and even the United States of America. Recently, Uganda Christian University signed a memorandum of understanding with a Japanese university to exchange students, because both institutions agree it is important in today's world that their students be exposed. It might not be surprising to hear that this African university has a school of agriculture. But how about the Faculty of Engineering, Design, and Technology? Law students who graduate from this university, yes, there is a law school and a school of medicine. Law students who graduate from this university are eligible to immediately sit for the bar exam. Where? In London. This is just one of many institutions of higher learning on the African continent. Perhaps because she's my sister, I do think that she's exceptional. She is vibrant, vivacious, she is vital, that's one of her favorite words. But she is not, again, she's not alone. She's an exception to me, certainly, because she's my sister, but she's not an exception on the continent. There are many hardworking professionals on the African continent, just like Krista, doing their part to help bring development to Africa. As my speech coach said of my sister and my grandmother, they have a sparkling EQ. Emotionally intelligent, problem solvers, entrepreneurial thinkers. Africa is full of people like these. They're entrepreneurs, they're great thinkers, they should not be ignored. Before I finish, a few things that you may not know or might surprise you about Africa. Africa is home to some of the world's oldest universities. It has some of the fastest growing economies in the world. There is the highest rate of entrepreneurs, and most notably, women. When it comes to representation of women at national parliamentarian level, Africa is leading. Rwanda is number 1. And to put it in context, the United States is number 76. Already, Africa boasts having had 9 female heads of state. And before I finish, one more. Africa holds the unique distinction of being the most multilingual place on the earth. There are over 2,000 languages spoken on the African continent. Every African speaks at least 3 languages. In addition, one of the following 3 languages: English, Arabic, and/or French. Among French-speaking people worldwide, this was interesting to me, among French-speaking people worldwide, 70% of them live on the African continent. You see, my friends, Africa, this is Africa, and Africa is more, so much more than just safari, poverty, and war.